What's up, y'all? This is Kevin Maines from Carmedon Electronics. If you're watching this video, you are interested in the Alpha Centauri pedal. So let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it. Talk about some of the features of this particular pedal, some of the sound characteristics. When that's over, we'll crank up the amps a little bit, plug in the guitar, let you hear what it sounds like. So let's do it. Okay. The Alpha Centauri pedal has a 4.67 by 3.68 inch footprint profile. The pedal sports a matte black finish with a red, orange, yellow, and white graphic design on top. Kind of gives it a distinctively vintage look. You got 4 control knobs on the top, give you maximum control over the aspects of the sound profile. So first you've got your gain control. And unlike most gain stages in most overdrive pedals, this particular circuit splits your original signal into a few different paths. One of those is left completely unchanged, hits a few different filters, but it's completely clean. The other one goes through your op amp and receives your gain boost, if you will, and your distortion. And then those two signals meet up again after the op amp. So the gain potentiometer is a dual gain potentiometer hooked up to both of those, and it adjusts them in opposition with each other. So when the gain goes up, the clean signal comes down, and vice versa. When the gain comes down, your clean signal goes up. So unless you have the gain knob completely dimed on 10, you always have at least a little bit of your original clean guitar tone blended in with the gain stage overdriven tone. So that's what gives this pedal its uniquely transparent sound, as opposed to kind of other overdrive pedals that really only have one signal path, and that's to distort the signal. The bass knob is a passive bass cut. Originally, this was added to the circuit as a way to take the mud out of an analog keys player's distorted sound. But what I found was that it worked the same with maybe a heavier guitar into a vintage tube amp that tends to get a little bit muddy once that amp gets good and heated up after a few hours. It's extremely subtle. You can barely hear it, but what it does is it can let a signal breathe, almost like putting a high-pass filter on a kick drum and a bass in a recording setting. So you won't be able to hear much of a difference, but it will let your signal breathe a little bit and hopefully give you just kind of a little bit more clarity in what you're doing. 9 times out of 10, you're going to have this knob set on 10 all the time. But if you happen to be playing and you feel like your signal's getting a little bit too thick on the low end, you draw this back to 12 o'clock or 0, and it may put you where you need to be. Your tone knob is going to be 27 volt rail-to-rail active tone control that not only combines the clean and the dirty signal from the gain stage, but it's going to add as much sparkle as you could ever want to your tone. It's pretty easy to go from a dark and smoky muted jazz tone to a twangy Telecaster type bite with just a simple adjustment of this knob. Okay, your level knob also features 27 volts of rail-to-rail volume control. The level pot interacts very dynamically with the gain pot. So depending on your taste, the level knob will not only adjust your overall output, but it can have a very smoothing out effect or a very dirtying up effect on the tone, kind of depending on where your gain knob sits. And with that much headroom, your dynamics will not get compressed out of the signal before you even get to your amplifier. Also, it's very loud. If you're sitting in a jam off, the Alpha is going to make sure that when you play, everyone in the room knows you're playing. Okay, if we're going to talk tone, we've got to talk about diodes. I did end up going with the germanium diode in this circuit. I tried a lot of different kinds, both silicon and germanium, and found that this particular diode gave me the warm and smooth distorted sound that I was looking for. And lastly, the Alpha has a sleek recessed white LED indicator, lets you know when the pedal's on. Pretty cool looking. Side mounted jacks. You've got a standard 9 volt input jack on the top of the pedal, as well as inside the pedal you have a 9-volt battery connector. You've got a Switchcraft foot switch that allows for true bypass for all of the tone purists out there. The Alpha pedal is made from only the best parts available and is completely hand-wired and tested in the USA. Okay, let's run a little sound demo real quick. I am running my 61 SG reissue on the neck pickup into a standard Blues Junior with the tone pots all set to 5 and the volume knobs both set to 3. So not a whole lot of amp characteristic coming through there. Put a little bit of reverb on it just to kind of soften up the edges, but that'll let you hear what the pedal sounds like without a whole lot of help from an amplifier. I'm going to start on just without the pedal engaged so that you can hear what the amp just sounds like, and then we'll run you through the whole gamut. Clean boost, we'll put a little bit of dirt on it, and then we'll crank it up at the end, let you hear kind of where it can go.